Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. Tonight, here's a happy memory. By breakfast, really even brunch, on Election Day
2020,
virtually nobody in
the GOP
thought
Joe Biden
could win. And they didn't think that because the entire press corps had been telling them for months that Biden had, as they always put it, literally no chance, not even as an abstract theoretical matter. This wasn't actually a race. In fact, come November
3rd,
if you'll remember this,
Biden
was going to be drowned by a towering tsunami and swept away forever, along with the rest of the
Democratic
Party, the collaborators anyway. And polling numbers seemed to confirm that this was going to happen. And so, by the way, did the private betting markets. At least one of those
internet pundits predicted a 50-state landslide for Donald Trump.
In the end, of course, they were not only wrong, they were hilariously wrong. By midnight,
Biden
had won. And a lot of high
school dropouts,
extremely
not
credentialed people suddenly looked ridiculous.
Donald Trump himself
was so shocked by the results that night that
he denied the election results in his
concession speech.
He
went to bed hoping it was just a dream. Now, you probably remember all of that very well, but it was what happened next in the days between the election and Thanksgiving that it turns out in a lot of ways was much more important. What happened during that period set the course for where we are right now. And where we are right now is speeding toward one of the great disasters in our history. So the leaders of the Republican Party couldn't, in effect, handle the outcome of the
2020
election. They snapped under the strain of it, under the crushed expectations. But rather than look inward and assess their own role in the disaster, what did we do wrong? Why did voters reject us? And other questions that emotionally mature adults might have asked.
Republican
leaders instead immediately set out to find somebody else to blame for the election results. And soon they settled on
voter fraud. Voter fraud.
Got
Joe Biden
elected, they told us.
Donald Trump
said that repeatedly. Now, at first, it was hard to take any of it very seriously. We tried, but there was no evidence it was true at all. And so a rational person concluded the obvious. This was a childish psychological defense mechanism. It was not a factual claim. And yet they kept saying it in the face of no evidence. And over time, they began acting on it like it was true. And then even over more time, they paralyzed the entire federal government for years, fruitlessly trying to prove the core claims of
voter fraud.
But they never could because those claims weren't true. And yet, critically, they clung to those claims. They never stopped repeating the talking point. The
Democratic
government, quote,
stole
our election. That was
myself
not long ago, saying it out loud like it were true. Now, here's the
proof of voter fraud.